When this idea was floated previously, back in 2015, the lieutenant governor had said that he didn't think there were the votes for it in the Texas Senate, and at the time, I believe this is correct, it did not get a hearing in the Texas Senate. It wasn't even heard in a committee. I saw this morning where some of the grassroots groups, Grassroots America, We the People, Joanne Fleming out of Tyler, one of those influential third-party groups, she was sort of calling out the lieutenant governor and saying that the Senate needs to act on this and bolster our Second Amendment rights. I saw where Kel Seliger from Amarillo, Republican, was quoted as saying that he was going to take a look at it. Basically, he was noncommittal about this. And remember, the way they have changed the rules in the Texas Senate for this session, brand new set of rules, is that the supermajority is defined by how many Republicans there are, 18 Republicans, and if they don't have all of them, they can't move forward on such a partisan thing. I don't think any Democrats are going to vote for this or vote to move it forward, although you did have some Democrats vote for it. In the Texas House, I believe Terry Canales from South Texas voted for it. I've often told my friends on KURV radio down in the Valley, give them a little plug. Not that folks in Lubbock are going to listen, but Canales is from that area. He probably owns more guns than any Republican that I know. He's a Democratic state representative. And, in fact, if you went out to try to buy more guns than he owned, he would go buy some more to make sure he had more than you. But so it's not totally partisan, although I don't see any Democrats in the Senate voting for it. So we'll see, whether all the Republicans hold together on this deal or whether they're sort of swayed by the fact that we've had so many mass shootings lately. We had one here in Austin just over the weekend, 3 people gunned down, and the alleged killer, was captured this morning in suburban Austin. Looked to be some sort of a domestic situation. But Chad, it used to be at one time, anytime one of these active shooter events or any big thing was unfolding. Remember when those police officers were gunned down in Dallas years ago? There would be immediately a debate about our gun policy in this country. Do you remember that it used to sort of be people wouldn't do that right as the event was happening?
Yeah.
Right? People would kind of hold off and, okay, and in the next few days we can come back to that debate. Right now it's not the right time. And then at some point it shifted to where people would bring up the gun debate and folks would at least say, no, you shouldn't talk about that until it's over with. Well, one thing I noticed this weekend is there wasn't even people saying that you shouldn't debate it. People jumped right into it. And I saw state representatives, Jared Patterson, for example, from North Texas, was championing the fact that the Texas House has moved forward with constitutional carry, permitless carry of firearms, as the active shooter event is still going on. And on the other side of the debate, people were saying, no, that is the dumbest thing you could be talking about right now because, look, you've got police organizations all over the state that are against it. Republicans tend to, side with the cops, back the blue and all that on certain things, but not on this. The cops are not for that. They say a situation like that is only complicated by having people walk around with no permit to carry a gun.
And I've had Senator Perry on the afternoon show talking about this, and it's been interesting because his opinion on this has been in the Texas Senate there hasn't been objection necessarily by Republicans or by the lieutenant governor, just that there was no real momentum, that there was no real movement. The numbers weren't there. In fact, Senator Perry said at one time that he had polled his district or had polling done in his district and that 80% of people were against it in his district. And he said, now, a lot of people didn't know what it was. They didn't know exactly, what does constitutional carry mean? Because there have been 5 or 6 different versions of it. But now that it has, and this is what Perry's latest statement was that now that there's a little bit of momentum, he thinks there's a chance that it gets brought up. But like you said, they can't lose one Republican.
They can't, and I would say this. I think the real question about what happens in the Texas Senate, the lieutenant governor can't have it both ways when it comes to the way he runs the body. When he wants something to happen, it passes the Senate, right? I mean, that has been pretty clear, and you see that in this legislative session. When he wanted electricity repricing to pass, it passed almost unanimously. He leaned on Republicans and Democrats to get that thing done. When it came to other issues where the lieutenant governor wanted the Senate to move on something, if he wanted all the Republicans to hold together, he got that done. When it was on property taxes, for example, Senate Bill 2, he even got Seliger to at least agree to move the bill forward. which was something that Seliger at that time did not want to do, remember, but Patrick put the pressure to get that thing done. You'll see that when the lieutenant governor isn't necessarily excited about something, he'll sort of lay it off on the senators as if it's their fault that the thing doesn't pass. But when he does want it to pass,